What's up, guys, and welcome to Let's Wine About It. My name is Elise. So I think this is going to be my first video. So I have recorded videos before for this channel, but I haven't posted them just yet. And I was gonna have those be my first video, but I feel like it's more fitting for this one because I'm by myself. So my other videos, I have my girls with me.
Yes. You never met him.
But I think for my first video, I just want to take some time to introduce myself and what this channel is all about. So thank y'all for tuning in, and I can't wait to start this journey with you guys. So let's get into it. Who am I? What is Let's Wine About It? So really, I started this channel with the idea like I'm gonna have all my girls come over. We're gonna sip some wine. We're gonna talk about like hot topics and just things that are just on our mind as women, and or just in general, and just kind of have a good time. That's what we do. We get together, we sip a little something, and then we talk. I love it. I want you guys to join me in loving it, or at least like if you're just trying to pick up some tips because you're planning on going to a wine tasting, or you want to know how to talk the talk. You can come here, you can get a little girl talk, you can get some tasting tips, and hopefully have some fun. So that is Let's Wine About It. Don't want to forget to mention that I'm also a One Hope cause entrepreneur. One Hope is a winery out in Napa Valley, and what I love about them is not only do they make quality wine, and I'm saying this honestly, like their Pinot Noir is probably one of my favorite Pinots. So not only do they make like quality wine, but they're a cause-based organization. And what I mean is a portion of their proceeds go towards different causes and initiatives globally. So I'm actually going to put a link down below where you can see all the causes that they donate to. I'll also put a link to my page so you can shop personally with me. And I'll do another video where I kind of deep dive into One Hope and what I do with them. But for this video, I just kind of wanted to introduce myself and be transparent about my wine journey. I'm a cause entrepreneur for One Hope. I started really getting into wine and the whole process and doing tastings and expanding my palate, I would say maybe 5 years ago. And here I am today sharing that journey with you guys. That's what I'm all about. Putting the fun back into wine, having some girl talk with you guys, helping to share tips and little nuggets of information and knowledge about wine and the process. So that is it. Let's get into the fun stuff. I'm going to be tasting these 4 wines with you guys. The wines that we have today, I have been holding off on tasting for a while now. So I'm excited to try them. And then I'm also, while tasting, going to be talking about self-care, specifically therapy. Everybody is like getting their New Year's resolutions together, if you guys do that. And so I just thought it was fitting. Therapy is like a hot topic right now. You can't log onto social media without some kind of ad about therapy. Most shows now have mention some kind of mental health or therapy. There's like these buzzwords that are floating around: narcissists, gaslighting, all those things that kind of lend to mental health. And so I wanted to deep dive into that and share my thoughts with you guys on mental health and seeking therapy, what it means to me, while we get into these wines. So let me pause right there. Let me pull out my wines. Rosé, we got a white Pinot, we got a red blend, and we have the Cab. So I feel like that's a good balance tasting menu, right? All right, guys, so I'm gonna actually aerate this one a little bit. So this is the Elise Nero Misto. It is a red blend. This bottle typically ranges between $29 to $32. It does have really strong reviews online from the wine community. Side note, anybody who is trying to really kind of get into wine tasting, there is an app that I highly recommend, and I'll drop the link down below as well, where you can scan the wine label and it'll tell you like the tasting profiles. You'll get to see all these reviews from people who've tasted the wine before. It's a great way to expand like your knowledge and verbiage of wine. So I'll drop that link there. I take it with me whenever I go shopping. But let's get into this one. This is a Napa Valley red blend from the Elise Winery. I'm adding this aerator to help open it up. It has 14.4% alcohol volume, so that's why I'm thinking this is probably, I want to aerate this a little bit. It's been in the bottle for quite a while. It's a 2018. I am also going to give it a nice little swirl. I got a pretty healthy glass here. I'm probably not going to drink all this since I got 4 more to try, but yeah, so let's give it a sniff. Ooh, that smells really nice. So blackberries, currant, plum. I'm getting some plum, and a little bit of spiciness. Really vibrant. Let's see what it tastes like. Cheers. Okay, so this tastes really good. I love my favorite wines are Pinot Noir and Cab. So Pinot Noir is my go-to wine, like if I'm like chilling at the house and like watching Netflix and I want to sip on something, I usually go for a Pinot Noir. My going out, let's say date night wine is a Cab. It's more full body. I like something that has body to it, and this has some nice body. It has a very long finish, which I also like. It's really balanced, so you're getting kind of like that really juicy juiciness to it, but it has just the right amount of tannin. The flavor just really lasts and lingers in the mouth afterwards. You're getting strong notes of plum on the palate as well. I really like this. I will definitely get this again. And you know what? It also kind of reminds me a little bit of Petite Syrah. And I actually think that is one of the grape varietals in this blend. Let me see. Yeah, Petite Syrah and Zinfandel, which I can taste that. I feel like that's what's giving it. It's kind of like juicy, very jammy. That's what it's like. It's like jam. Yeah, I like it. 2 thumbs up on the 2018 red blend from the Elise Winery, Nero Misto. I want to start kind of like talking about our topic while I sip. I want to kind of talk with you guys about therapy. It's kind of like a hot topic right now, but I don't know if it's something that we, specifically in the Black community, are really, open to. In my experiences, I still feel like mental health and therapy is still something that's a little taboo. We're seeing more of it in the media, but it hasn't really like taken off in people's lives. And I think that the starting place is to start really talking about it. So that's why I wanted to talk about it on this episode, especially with it being, the second day of the year, and people are really setting kind of, goals for themselves, specifically around like their physical health. Really, all of that starts with your mental health. It sounds very cliche, but you can't attain that healthy body that you want, or that healthy relationship that you want, or really thrive at work if you're dealing with emotional and mental baggage, right? My first encounter with therapy was, I would say, like the end of 2019. like right before the pandemic, I was getting set up to go have a therapy session. It was the first one, like the consultation. And what really like triggered me, or not triggered, what really motivated me to do it is I was watching this show. I think it's called Couples Therapy. It's on Amazon. But I was watching it, and it was, you know, and I think there's a couple shows like it, but it is it's a series with couples that see the couples go through therapy, and like so many things were coming out that like you could clearly see, like as a person watching the show, like you could clearly pinpoint the couple's issues. Like, he just needs to be honest with how he's feeling, and she needs to say this and that. Like it was very obvious what was going on and what they needed to do to resolve the problem. But it was obvious to me because I'm not in it. And you could see like the people kind of like understanding once they spoke to like a third party who was, you know, objective, and they rephrase things to where the other person could hear it. And sometimes they just said it the exact same way, but it fell differently for the other person. And it just clicked for me I think that's like the power of therapy, is sometimes you need that objective person to hold a mirror up to yourself and say, hey sis, this is what you missing. Like you're not getting it. And it can be very obvious to other people. The obstacles and things that are tripping you up could be very simple and very blatant, but because you're in it, you can't see it, and you just need that mirror to be held up for you. And so yeah, I'm also someone that likes to talk things out. I'm a talker. I get it, guys. Like, I talk a lot. So I also feel like it'd be a good outlet for me to kind of get things off my chest and get things off my mind and talk it out. Without kind of like overthinking it and letting things sit with me. So that kind of started my journey into therapy. Not because I was like going through anything emotionally. I saw the value in it. So I did that at the beginning of at the end of 2019, and then COVID happened. And so then I also switched jobs. So I did the consultation, and I was like, okay, I'm about to change my job. I need to see what my benefits and everything look like. And then I'm going to sign up with somebody. And then COVID hit, and I wasn't going to go into somebody's office and sit down. All 2020, I just kind of didn't even think about going back to therapy or starting up therapy. And so that was a while. I am back on my journey. I found a therapist. I will start doing like virtual sessions in January 2022. So I'm excited about that. But that's been my journey. And I kind of have always been like an advocate of therapy. To give you guys a little bit of like some background, I'm not going to get too deep into it, but I was dating a guy in 2020, and the relationship was great to an extent. We had some communication I guess we had some communication issues, and like I saw the potential for it. Like we got along really well. We had so many things in common, but also there were just things that were happening in his life and things that were happening in my life where we needed to be able to communicate, you know, what we were going through in a healthy way, and our communication styles were different. And I was like, obviously we can't keep going on like this, because we're going to eventually end up resenting each other, and we need to be able to, resolve our problems in a healthy way and communicate in a healthy way. We've tried one-on-one, but we need somebody else to come up in here and like say, hey, she's saying this, you're saying that. What they mean is, you know, and break it down for us in a way that we could hear. And so I suggested that. I was like, hey, why don't we look into couples therapy? And some people might be like, that's crazy, but is it though? Like, I don't think it's crazy to, especially if like you're dating seriously. Like if you're dating somebody who you feel like could be husband or wife material, why not do couples therapy? Especially if you're married, I think there should be something that you're doing. But, you know, if you're seriously dating with the potential to get married, I think that's, you know, a great tool to have as you're trying to build a relationship. Men and women just communicate so differently. Like me and my friends were talking the other day about the difference in how men and women communicate. And one, women be talking. Like we talk so much, and most men are men of few words. There's a study out that shows that women on average speak 20,000 words a day. 20,000 words a day comes out of a woman's mouth. Can you guess how many words a man speaks per day? Just guess. 6,000. Men speak 6,000 words per day to our 20. So clearly, like, there's going to be like a disconnect. We give more than enough detail, sometimes too much detail, about a situation or just about what's going on, and we expect that in return. And men are just, they, generally speaking, everybody, you know, there's, you know, I'm talking about people in the bell curve, generally have fewer words. And when you hit them like with a whole bunch of questions, like prime example, me and my friends were talking the other day, and we're going on a girls trip. And the conversation that happens is her boyfriend asks, okay, where are y'all going? She goes and, you know, we're going here. The reason why we're going here is because we initially wanted to go here, but then this happened. We're going to stay here because we saw these really great reviews, and, you know, and this person's going to be here. She's coming a little later, and I'll probably get there around so and so and so. We're going to drive instead of fly. Like she's telling a story. Like she's building like the imagery and the background to the whole event. Like there's no detail like not given. He has no other questions to ask. Like she answered it. And on the flip, like the week before, he was going on a trip, and she's like, okay, so where are you going? I'm going here. Oh, okay. Why are you going? Is it for business, for pleasure? It's for so like it's like one word answers. It's very succinct. He's answering what she asked. And so now she's getting frustrated because like, why does it feel like I'm pulling teeth to get information from you? And he's like, when she's telling this story, he's like, I didn't even ask all of that. Like, or why are you asking me all these questions? Are you clocking me? Are you trying to, you know, figure out my whereabouts? I'm not a child. And it's just two totally different perspectives. Like, women feel like if you are not forthcoming with information, you're trying to withhold and hide. And then men feel like if you're asking for so much information, you're trying to, you know, monitor my whereabouts and my actions and behaviors. I'm not a child, I'm a grown ass man. Like it's that kind of mentality. And for us, asking questions is just how we talk. It's just conversation for us, you know, like, so, you know, you're going out of town? Okay, cool. Where you going? Who are you going with? Where did y'all end up staying? You know, when does your flight land? And it's not in an intrusive way from our perspective. It's just we're having conversation, not to place judgment, not to kind of be a detective, but that I don't know how else to explain it. Like that's normal conversation. And when you're not given that, it feels like you're trying to hide something. Like, this is just a basic question. The best example I can give would be like me saying, how was your day? And your answer being, it was cool. Like, for me, that's it. It was cool. You asked me how my day was. I'm like, oh, it was cool. I woke up. I was running a little. I'm going to tell you how my day was. And so, prime example of the difference between men and women. Like, we got 20,000 words in us, so we can talk our way through the day, come home and have more words to give you. That's, I feel like, one of the biggest communication barriers between men and women. I mean, there's multitude. We're just different beings, but that's one of the biggest things. And for that reason alone, I am an advocate for therapy. Like, after that whole experience with my ex last year, I feel like that's going to be moving forward kind of like a prerequisite. I'm going to look for guys who are at least open to therapy. Relationships are hard. I know marriage is hard. Like, you have to have tools to get through it. And if you are of the mindset that, if I can't fix it, then I feel like a failure, or, I don't want anybody else in our business, so I don't want to go to therapy. I can't do that. Like, I need you to be secure enough and knowledgeable enough to, and invested enough in the relationship to say, I'm okay with, getting tools to help fix challenges, because they're going to happen. Like, you're going to run into obstacles when you are combining lives together with a man and a woman who just are fundamentally different. So that's my spill. I don't know, like, some people might think having that as a prerequisite is to, like, dating is just adding another layer to an already layered and complicated dating world, because Lord knows it's hard. Let's get into some of our other wines here. So this is Left Coast White Pinot Noir. The vintage is 2020. I love how this wine was produced. It's a Pinot Noir, but it has had no skin contact. So very low in tannins, but what it lacks in tannins, it makes up for in juiciness and acidity. It finishes like an oak Chardonnay with notes of honey and nice fruity notes of pear and apple. So 2 thumbs up for this one, and it's a crowd pleaser. So, I actually wish I would have been more hip to therapy earlier in life, because, and I feel like a lot of people who are like talking about it and are interested in it, or who are actively seeking therapy now, are like in their 30s, like adults or married couples, like, who have lived life. And I wish I would have known about therapy like in my 20s. I feel like if any demographic would benefit from therapy, it's 20 somethings. Like, you're learning yourself, you're really starting to get like a real taste of the real world, and you're trying to sort shit out, right? And I just keep thinking about myself when I was in my 20s and how I might have benefited from it. So if you're watching this and you're young and you feel like, I got stuff together, even if you, like, anybody who feels like they have their stuff together, I still feel like therapy should just be a part of your health routine. Like, just like you go to the gym, even people who look physically fit still go to the gym. They still monitor, like, their eating habits, do yoga, you go to church to work on your spiritual health. Like even if you have a relationship with God, like you do these routine things to maintain, right? So even if you feel mentally healthy, I think therapy is good, because you don't want to be ill prepared for when shit hits the fan. And I feel like that's where I was in my 20s. I when I graduated college, I got an internship. That internship turned into a job, and I graduated in 2007. Like this was right before the recession, right? So, and I got my first job in 2008. So right in the middle of a recession, I had a job where a lot of my peers were struggling. I had a legit job. I had my own office. I had my picture on the wall. I had, people who reported to me. I was traveling for work. I had just moved out into my own place, out of my mom's house. And so, I was thriving. I'm living in the city, and I was in a long-term relationship that, was strong at the time. And, I just felt secure. I felt like I'm a planner. I felt like my plans were working out. I had also started like my own business and was working my 9-to-5 and doing my side hustle. Me and my girls were going out, and we were all in like marketing and PR. So we're doing all these events together. And as Future would say, life was great. It was a great time to be alive. And then like around 27, how old was I? So in 2010, I got laid off. And so it was 2010, I got laid off from my job. And in the beginning, first, because I'm so dramatic, like when I first got laid off, like I packed my little box, in my office, and I went into the elevator, and like I just like broke down crying, like I just lost this job. I don't have a game plan. I don't know what to do. I'm like crying. I called my mama, I'm crying and telling my mom like, oh, I just got fired. Oh, I'm tearing up. And so like I'm just feeling sorrowful for myself. And I remember actually like telling my boyfriend at the time and like crying and complaining to him and being all sad. And he comforted me for a good, I would say maybe 30 minutes to an hour, and then he was like, all right, come on now. What do you need to do? You need to go to the unemployment office. You need to suck it up, put your big girl panties on, let's go. And I appreciate that. I genuinely appreciated that. Cause had he let me, I probably would have just been like in my sadness, as long as anybody would let me and feed into that. So I appreciate him kicking me out of my funk. After that, I was in a groove, felt determined, I felt confident, just off the high of, me already feeling successful in life. With the job, I felt accomplished. I felt like I had a game plan. I wasn't gonna let this setback, hold me down. So I started getting doing all these side gigs and interviewing. I started doing event planning, and I was getting involved in a lot of things. Like my unemployment period, I was not just sitting at home. I was mixing and mingling and networking. And I did that. Really, I was really positive about it. The first, I would say maybe 10 months. But as I got closer and closer to that year mark, it started to hit me one, I didn't have any money. I was broke. I had bills to pay. I hated feeling like I had to depend on other people. And I very much was depending on, I had a roommate at the time. I was in a relationship and I was not paying for meals. I was not, I was definitely depending on that relationship, and it made me feel like shit. Honestly, it was depressing, that I just, I had to depend on other people. In social settings, when people would ask me, so what are you doing? What are you, what's your plan? Or I heard you were working here, and you gotta say, no, I'm not working there anymore. I'm actually doing, this, after a year, it starts to weigh on you. Then, other things started happening, personal things started happening, family issues came up. So it's just like layer upon layer upon layer of stress. And I'm like externally trying to keep my shit together and like, okay, but I started, making decisions to feel like I was in control of the situation and in control of things that, I honestly, I wasn't in control of. So, instead of, I remember I quit one of my event planning gigs or jobs, which actually brought me joy, and I enjoyed doing, to be able to fully work at this job. I was selling cars. I hated it. Like, I absolutely hated that job. I met a lot of great people on that job, but I hated it. It was depleting. It was soul depleting, but I was good at it. I was making more money doing it. And so I quit all my side gigs to be able to completely focus on that. And it just was draining emotionally. And it still wasn't a job that I felt proud of. Like, when people would ask me what I'm doing, I would still like feel some kind of way. And then I had like all other kind of things that I'm not gonna deep dive into that were weighing heavily on me too. So it was like the job and, family things and just feeling a lack of control. And it made me make certain decisions. And I say all of this to say, like, had I had therapy or been in therapy in my good times, and I would have been able to better address like the feelings of insecurity. Like, and when I say insecurity, I mean like insecurity about myself. Like, I felt some kind of way about what people were thinking about me professionally and just, how well I was doing in life. Like, that was a thing. But also insecurities, like I did not feel secure in life. Like, I did not feel financially secure. I had no real game plan of where I wanted to go. Like, my future just looked completely different than what I thought it was. And so I feel like if I had done the work when I was in a good space and was able to like know the difference between external happiness and internal happiness, I would have been able to kind of navigate when external things weren't going well for me better. I made a lot of decisions during that unhappy time that were like, I left, I moved back home, which was horrible. Well, I'm not going to say horrible because it actually brought me out of my funk. Like, it was probably what I needed to kind of, get back on track. But, I moved, I ended a relationship. I made all these decisions because I just was searching for something that could make me feel better about my situation. I needed some kind of control over something. And had I known better how to navigate in, and still have happiness within, even though like everything in this world or in my world at the time was like shit, I probably would have made either different decisions or been able to communicate, my decisions better. Because when I was explaining to people like why I decided to move, or why I ended this relationship, or why I decided to take this position, there was no real clarity about it. Like, I think back on like how I communicated those changes to people, and it was it was like bullshit, because I was bullshitting myself. Like, I didn't know why I was making those decisions, but I was searching to change things that were around me. Maybe if I change this, I'll feel better. Maybe if I leave this, environment, I'll feel better. I need to change. I need new opportunity. I need to be closer to my family. I need to do, like, I was trying to change my external to change my internal, when it should have been the other way around. So I say all that to say, if you are in your 20s, or if you feel like you are thriving right now and this is like the best time of your life, still do not discount the benefits of therapy. Like, it could be the tool that you have in your tool chest that you can pull out when you need it. You're equipped to, handle the hard times when they come and appreciate the good times while you're in it. So yes, that is my message. That was from my little trip down memory lane. And that brings me to my last topic. And I'm going to only do one more wine tasting, because I should have been like sipping and spitting out or tossing, but I have actually been drinking this wine and I'm feeling a little warm. So I'm just gonna do one more wine tasting and then wrap this baby up with my last kind of topic or point on therapy. All right, guys, so we have a 2020 rosé. It's from Wink's pregame line. They also have a red blend in their pregame series, and they have an in-game series as well, which I haven't had the opportunity to try yet. So really looking forward to seeing what this light-bodied rosé has to offer. Nice salmon color here. Let's give it a swirl. And now let's take a sip. Okay. I'm not really liking this at all. I know I'm not a rosé fan in the first place, but this is like drinking tangy water. That's the most I can say about it. The finish is nothingness. Like the shortest finish that ever existed. What's the alcohol volume on this? 11. It's not very flavorful. There's not a lot of punch to it. Very mild, mediocre. I was looking for like some zippiness out of this rosé. I'm gonna just read you what the back of it says. You've had a long week, you're ready to get down with your friends, dance the night away, and you need a crowd pleaser. Enter pregame with bright fruity watermelon notes and a refreshing finish. This juicy rosé is bound to get the party started. This sounds like something I would like moderately enjoy, but I actually dislike this wine. Even the nose on it, it's very underwhelming. There is a note of watermelon on the nose, and you kind of get you get that on the palate too. It really tastes like I'm drinking flavored water, like what are those things called? Like Dasani flavored water. It doesn't even have like the sparkle. Like I was thinking that I was going to get some effervescence with it, but that's not there. It's not super fruity. The acidity levels are low. I wasn't expecting much in terms of body. Just it's just very underwhelming. I can't say much else about it. I'm not gonna go in. If you're a rosé fan, I don't think you would like this either. I just do not think it's a crowd pleaser. It's very underwhelming. So I don't know. That's my take on it. But getting back to our topic, wrapping things up, and there are two things that I feel like the Black community is challenged with. One is kind of like, if I'm seeking help from somebody else, that speaks against what our culture is known for, especially Black women. Like, and men, you know, like Black people are known for being strong, a strong Black man, a strong Black woman. It's almost ingrained in us. It is ingrained in us that we have to be strong, and to seek help is a sign of weakness. I cannot say it enough that therapy is not just for when you're going through it. How many of us have actually grown up in a household where we were having conversations with our parents about how to deal with anxiety and our emotions? We learn from experience on how to manage emotions and what best serves us, and we learn and grow, and we learn ourselves through how we react in certain situations, and then what was the result from that action. Where therapy gives you that hindsight, gives you like the tools to understand yourself and the world around you without having to go through some trauma and then trying to decipher it on your own and figure it all out on your own. That's one of the things that people in the Black community deal with, is just that mantra that we're strong and that, you know, that we're built for this, like we're built for the struggle, or we're built to make it through like hard times. And then two, for the times where we do need support and we do need help, you need to be going to God for it. You know, like if you struggling and you can't pull yourself up out of this hard, or whatever we're dealing with is too hard, did you pray about it? Did you pray about it? Did you take it to God? You know, and if you're struggling with something to the point where you need to seek outside help, I feel like people question your spirituality and your faith, and if you're taking those proper steps to resolve your problem, when it should be something that you do in tandem. Think about our physical health, right? So if I'm trying to, you know, live a healthier life, I'm not just going to go to the gym or work out 4 or 5 times a day. I'm also going to monitor what I'm eating. I might read, you know, some materials on, you know, healthy cooking or the best workouts to do for my body type. Like, it's a multifaceted approach to your physical health. It's the same with your emotional and mental health. You need to take a multifaceted approach. Being prayerful about it, you know, speaking to God, speaking to your higher power about your desires and your struggles, while also doing the work to get there. Like, faith without works is dead. I feel like therapy is the work that you need to do in combination with your spiritual work. So that's my thought on that. That's it. I hope you guys found it interesting, entertaining, thought-provoking maybe. Leave your comments. I want to hear what you guys feel about therapy. If you've done it before, what your experiences are, if you hate it, if you love it, if you recommend it. I want to know it all. So leave a comment, like it if you like this topic, if you like my wine tasting tips, and if you want to see more content like this, and subscribe. I'm gonna drop my Instagram handle below, as well as my One Hope link. And so much for joining me on Let's Wine About It, and I hope to be cheersing with you guys soon. Bye.